Hello, everybody. It's that time again, and let's bring on my co-host, Liz, the Diggin Canuck. Hey, gang.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, everyone out there.
Yes, and people are joining by the second, so that's good.
Wonderful,
That's
wonderful,
good. That's good. It's a
wonderful.
fairly pleasant day today, and as we have reiterated a couple times, this is the season finale. We're
Yes.
going to be on hiatus for the month of July, so we'll be back August 1st, rocking and socking. We think.
Oh, for sure. For
you
sure.
know, unless something else happens. So, uh, you know, uh, I think we got a good show lined up for you tonight.
hmm
I think you're really gonna enjoy it. So, what's been going on up in Canada?
Tomorrow is July 1st, and July 1st is Canada's birthday. So it's like the equivalent of the July 4th for anyone in the United States. So tomorrow's a holiday. We're going to have a barbecue, swimming pool, some beer, snacks, and
Lots of beer, Modelo's.
yeah, we are going to celebrate Canada's birthday.
So, just snacks and beer. You're not cooking on the grill.
We are going to have a barbecue.
What are you cooking?
Stuff.
I mean, really?
Yeah. Yes,
You're gonna put
actually,
like
since
Fritos and Doritos on the grill, or
no. Since Mr. Connect's heart attack, we have made a big change as far as our diet, and there will be no meat on the barbecue. No meat. I know that this might be a little, for some people, but no meat tomorrow.
it's whatever that you like.
It is whatever it needs to be.
Yep. Who needs meat when you got beer?
Exactly.
You could have,
Exactly.
make believe it's, fillets like filet and Modelo works for me.
Fully Modelo.
You know, uh,
Uh,
yeah,
well,
I just now recently booked a beach trip for September, so I'm going to have
mm.
a big cookout down there, and there will be Modelo.
I'm sure there will be copious Modelo.
Yes, there'll be lots of ice cold Modelos, and there
Right
will be
on.
probably some bratwurst and Italian sausages and whatever anybody else brings. So, we're going to have a good time.
Right
We,
on. Good stuff. Good
we
stuff.
hope. We do hope. So, there'll be a lot of water hunting the whole week
Good. Good.
and get those Deus 2s dunked again. And
Mm-hmm.
something interesting coming up. I got to give him a call. You see, I'm wearing Steve's detecting rods. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wearing his cap, and he is working on a carbon fiber shaft for the Deus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now Anderson already has one out, and it's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the little pins, that pop in, uh,
Oh.
and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of those.
Yeah, there's stuff can go wrong with those.
I just, I've never been a real fan of them. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to call Steve, and he's going to be on Treasure Talk in August, I think,
Mm-hmm.
to see how he's doing with that Deus 2 shaft, because I'm very interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he uses a different kind of cam locks.
Yes, he does. He does, and I think that that will be a really really good. They'll be secured. Let's put it that way: secured and no wobbles, which is everybody
Yeah,
wants that.
yeah. I think from what I understand, I don't know for sure. Uh, okay, somebody Facebook user wants me to text him about a Deus 2, and I don't know who it is, but so um, they want one. Smart
Mm.
move. But I think Steve is going to use the same kind of cam locks that Deus has.
Ah,
And it's
okay.
going to be a straight shaft, I believe.
Mm.
So, uh, hopefully it'll be good. And of course, he does myriads of colors too. So
hmm
that,
Well, it's always nice to customize your detector.
yeah, yeah. And Steve does a real good job. He makes a very nice shaft, as does Anderson. Anderson has a lot of really good stuff.
hmm
Anderson shaft is it's carbon fiber. and it's pretty nifty. They built in. I think what you have to do on theirs though is you got to take your the head where your RC
Mm-hmm.
clicks in. I
Mm-hmm.
think you got to take your own off the dais and put it on that one. I'm not 100%
Mm. I've
sure.
seen some people do that on YouTube. You got to take the screws off and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've done that. I've got.
Oh, okay.
I bought from Detecting Doodads.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That head has got the
Yes.
lock part on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm double tapping mine, so to speak. That it's pretty nifty the way they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also using, the little gizmo that came with it to run it through the bottom of the RC and around
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
the
have that
head
one on mine.
as just safety. I think for me.
Yeah, I
As
don't
much
want to
as
be
that.
losing my $600, $800 control
Yeah,
box in the woods.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
cry. You would definitely see me cry.
I think you would. I think you'd be. I'm going to burn this forest down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? We probably need to say hello to folks. What do you think?
I think we should. I mean, they've come in to see us. So yeah, let's say hello.
Yeah. Adele Lampersky Rotherford, one of my all-time faves. She was the first in the house. Hello, Adele. We're glad that you joined us tonight. And she was followed very quickly by the Mumbles
Mm.
Man. Excuse me. I think the Mumbles Man is starting to feel better now. He was down with COVID.
Mm.
We were supposed to travel down to his house this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and we were going to hunt for over the July 4th
Ah, yes.
for 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
But he and his wife both came down with COVID. So he got up with me and says, I don't think you want to come because he knows we're fixing to go on our big family
Yeah,
trip.
exactly. I don't think your wife would be very happy if you came home with COVID.
No, well, she was going with, so she
I
probably came
bet
home with
you,
it too.
she probably would go by herself. I
Yeah.
would too. I would too. Serves you
So
right.
um, we've got that, you know. Let's see. Okay, then we've got, let's see who else is here.
Gene P.
Yes, Jean P. She is a wonderful person, good hunter. And let's see who else is here. Uh, let's see. John David, Mr. Plays in the Dirt, is here. He's the reason behind the Blue Spade Society. He's the one
Yes.
that fell on his knees uh, pre Modelo. He was medicating with Modelo afterwards.
Sans Modelo. That's how we say it in French. Sans Modelo.
That's right. It was pre Modelo.
Yes.
Afterwards, it was post Modelo.
Yeah, well, that's another story.
Yes, yes, indeed. Uh,
Hey, my friend
somebody
John Harvey is here.
who?
On. Who I dig with.
Who's that? I
My
missed that.
friend John Harvey is in the
Uh,
chat.
Is he on Facebook or YouTube?
I think he's on YouTube. I don't think
Oh,
he's on
yeah,
Facebook.
because I see somebody from Facebook that said hello to you, but I don't know who it is. They didn't put their name. Looter 8's with us tonight.
Yes, he is.
Just a killer outfit, that Looter 8, isn't it?
I had the pleasure of bottle digging with them, and I'm looking forward to next time.
Yes, indeed. That will be fun. Robert Ridgway is with us tonight. Hello, Robert, as is Mark Fiorella. Uncle Beep is in the house. And whoever this Facebook user is, wanting the Deus 2, I don't know what your name is, but we'll get up with you about a Deus 2. I think Phil has them in stock, so he's ready to ship it out.
Right
And
now.
speaking of the Guru in the house, and we'll be down. We'll be with them. They'll be at the beach the same time we are, so we're going to have
Ah,
a week of hunting together. So it ought to be
good
fun, fun,
stuff.
fun.
Good stuff.
Yes, indeed. And let's see. Mark Fiorella wants to know if the Deus 2 is really that good a detector. Yes. It is. Don't you think?
I need more hours on it, but I'm leaning towards that.
Tom Becker is with us tonight from
Hey, Tom.
Ohio.
Right on.
And let's see who else is in here. Jumped
Hey,
on
we got
me
some new
again.
people in here. The Nomad Grandma is here. Al Labine is here. Grandma Kelly's Clean Life, Clean Living. Wow, lots of new people. Welcome to everyone that this is their first time.
Yeah, Rachel's here from Jersey. Ray.
Ah, okay.
And let's see. I'm trying to have it so it don't jump. So I think we got about to the end of the chat, and there's a bunch more people watching, but they're just not in the chat. So, um, oh, E.W. Hawkins joined us.
He says Tesoro is still king.
Yes, indeed.
I
Yes,
know
indeed.
some people that take the Tesoro when they go on these seated hunts because they say it's the best.
Well, the Tesoro was really, I think the thing with Tesoro, it was a great detector. From what I understand, they just had kind of bad management.
Yeah.
And that's kind of happened a lot.
Hmm.
I think when whites went under, great products, but I
Hmm.
don't think they kept up with the times, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad
So
someone didn't pick up Tesoro.
yeah, that's true. That's true. We also had Florida Thunder digging with Rob. Hey, buddy, nice to see you. Glad that you joined us. I think somebody says Dirty Paws Detecting. Yes, indeed. They are in the house. That is Mike and Trish. So we are getting to the end of the chat to say hello. So why don't you talk a little bit about our guests for tonight?
Our first guests are actually very, very. I think that most people would like to know these two people because they're each other's digging buddy, and who doesn't want a digging buddy that you can just call up and say, "Let's go digging." First, our first guests are the Dime Detective and Mister a Digologist.
Let's bring them in.
Yes.
Hey guys,
Can you see us? All right.
we can see you. We can indeed.
Hello.
So
Hello,
identify
gentlemen. Hello,
yourselves.
ladies. How y'all
Identify
doing?
yourselves for the people around the world.
Tell us a little about yourselves for those viewers who
Digologist, dime detective.
Yep. About myself, I am avid metal detectorist. I'm on the east coast of Virginia, area called Hampton Roads, and we got a lot of history here. Um, I work as a welder fitter. Pretty much run every machine in the shop if I have to. It's a pretty tough job, so I'm used.
Vending machine? You run the vending machine, or
I really do. I run the vending machine several times. Uh, I I started metal detecting back in 2012. I had a friend named Richard. Richard was a really big Civil War relic hunter, and he showed me his collection he had in a Liberty safe, and a collection he had. You would be surprised the things he's dug over the last 20 years. I think he said he'd been detecting. Unfortunately, he passed away several years back with kidney cancer. But he got me interested in hunting. Um, it was a few years later before I actually got a metal detector, and I got one of the cheapest ones that is out there. It was called the Bounty Hunter Gold Digger, and I had talked about metal detecting so much that my girlfriend Tina just bought me this machine to shut me up, and
she
she
unleashed the Kraken?
she did. I started out on the beach in the area for the first, I guess, year or year and a half, maybe 2 years. I was just doing nothing but hunting a couple local beaches, and I was having a blast finding rings, finding car keys, phones. Um, lots of change, and of course a lot of trash. And then I seen the AT Max come out,
Mm.
and that was all the rage.
Yes.
I had to have it, so I whipped out the credit card and did a swipe, and 2 days later I had an AT Max and started doing some beach hunting with it. But then I met a fellow. I won't say his name because we've pretty much kicked him out of the detecting community. I hunted with him a few times. But I met another guy named Dig Dug. His name is Doug Campbell. Me and Dig Dug did several videos together. We had some really good relic hunts, and I was with him when I found my first Spanish silver down in a creek in Surrey County, Virginia. Unfortunately, he moved back to Indiana. It was kind of a bummer. So I kept on going to the places we would go, and farm fields and creeks, the woods, wherever I could get to where I wouldn't get in trouble, and got a few relics here and kept a few videos going. Then I'm out in the field one day, and this guy rolls up with his brother. I look up, and there's two guys standing there, and they're both got metal detectors in their hands.
Wow.
I met Dime Detective and his brother Doug, which we call in the videos Doug Money. Tell us about yourself now.
All right, I'm Daniel, Dime Detective. I don't have a YouTube channel. I have one, but I don't post any videos. I don't see the point with this guy constantly lugging a camera around. I don't feel like I can bring anything to videos that this guy doesn't already bring around. And I get a common question I get asked all the time: do you like beach hunting? Do you like yard hunting, park hunting, relic hunting? And I consider myself a treasure hunter because I will take all of the above. Any chance that I get to go somewhere metal detecting, I take it. The wife and I, when we go day trips or go to visit people, she's getting in the car and I'm around back slipping the detector. And she's laughing at me and so on and so forth. As far as metal detecting goes, in the late 90s, I had a friend that bought a White's XLT, and I'd been somewhat interested, and he'd taken it out a couple times and got frustrated and told me where it was going. I said, I think if you want to find something old, you need to go somewhere where there's going to be something old. Reluctantly, he went to a couple places, and I said, no, let's try this place over here. Well, the house dated to the early 1900s, and the people just said yes. We were out there for about 15 minutes, and he's ready to throw the detector, and I said, let me try it.
15
I had it less than 10 minutes. I got a signal about 9 inches down, and we dug down, and it was 1916 Barber dime. After that, I couldn't get him to take me metal detecting with him. So I had to buy my own detector. But it didn't happen right away. Years later, I did get a Fisher F5, started detecting, and one of the first things I found was a 1916 Mercury dime. So 1916 Barber dime, 1916 Mercury dime, first and last year. And I've really enjoyed the hobby. The day that I met this guy, my brother and I were out. My brother had found I forget the year, but a mid-1700s Spanish pistol ring, which is cut Spanish. A few minutes later, I found a 1773 Virginia hat penny, which was a lot of history behind that. It was getting late, and about a 5-minute walk away was a field that I'd been to numerous times. And we only had about 20 minutes. I said, well, let's go over there anyway. So over the river and through the woods we go. And I see this guy out in the field, and he's got his head in a hole in the ground like an ostrich talking to the ground. And I'm like, what's this idiot doing? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we started walking up. I noticed he had a detector. He looked up. He was kind of startled, noticed we had a detector. And I think we just hit it off real well after that.
So Daniel said that John said he was using an AT Max. Are you still using the AT Max, or you moved something else?
The AT Max has become my backup. I have the Knox 800.
Okay. And what about Daniel? What are you using now?
Equinox 800.
Okay.
He says the AT Max is his backup, but I think it's his dust collector. Once he figured out the 800, I don't know that you picked up the AT Max yet.
Not very often.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not saying it's a bad machine or anything, but
I found some great coins and some great
Mhm.
treasure with the AT Max. It's a workhorse for Garrett, and I have to say, if someone wants to get a mid-range machine, that would be a good one to go to. The advantage of the Knox was I can go on the beach and hunt in the water and not have to worry about any problems. Good in the water.
Mhm.
and I've got the 800, and I've got the 3 coils for it. I got 15-inch coil, 11-inch coil, and the 6-inch coil. My go-to coil is always the 11-inch coil, but there are times when the crops come out of the fields, I put the 15-inch on because I feel like I'm covering more ground. But then there are other times when I'm in real trashy, irony areas that people say are just hunted out. And every time somebody says it's hunted out, there's nothing but trash there, I put the 6-inch coil, and I really find what they didn't find.
Well, you know what I've always found? When people say, oh, there's nothing but trash there, it's hunted out. If you look at how they got their machines set up, they've got all this stuff notched out and, discriminated out. And it's no wonder that they're thinking that it's hunted out and there's nothing but trash there,
I can tell you a quick story about a 8 real that I found. There was a field, and 2 people I knew for sure had hunted it. I knew them well enough, and I knew how they detected what they had. One of them's got a machine that I say is depth challenged. It doesn't get a lot of depth, and the other one has an Equinox, but they use the factory settings, and they've got it tweaked so much that I really feel that they pass over a lot of things.
Mm.
So, and they were saying, "Oh, that field's hunted out. That field's hunted out." And I'm like, "Okay, I know the 2 of you. I know what you find. I know that one of them's got a machine that's depth challenged. The other one doesn't have their machine properly set up." And sure enough, I go out there. I found, I think it's 1830 artillery button, pre-Civil War. And then I get this banging 34, about 6-7 inches in there. I mean, it was just bang, bang, bang. And it did not bounce on the detector. I'm like, and I'm thinking this is probably a brass cap off of a barrel lid or something like that. And I dug the hole and I pulled it out, and I'm looking at this thing in my hand, and it's silver and it's round. And in 2 seconds time, my heart went from beating really fast and really excited and coming about 3 feet off the ground. And when I came, my feet hit the ground again, the dirt slid off, and I'm looking at it, and I see the Spanish writing, and I see the silver, and I see 2 holes in it. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And I cleaned it off, and it had 2 holes drilled in it because it was copper that was lead coated. So it's like my heart just went
a
up and
fake
down.
8 real. That's a heart stopper.
Well,
was it in a? Did you say it was in a field, or where was that?
it was the edge of the field. But the other part to the 2 people that I knew is that unless it's manicured, clean ground, they don't go in the woods, the bushes, the tall grass, the mosquitoes and the snakes. So I knew that they hadn't been in that edge of the woods. In addition to that, but what I did find out in doing some research, that there was a period of time where people were taking copper disc and punching them out in the same presses that they made the reals in. They would punch them out, and they would coat them with silver and pass them on. And then when people started figuring out what was going on, if they found one that just didn't pass the smell test, they drilled a hole in it to keep someone from passing the ring.
Yeah, I always love it when, people tell you, oh, it's all hunted out, it's hunted out.
Yeah.
One day, a few years ago, my friend, the Mumbles man, and I, we went down to Daytona, and we were just getting our stuff out of the car, and older guys come up off the beach, and they both had, all of them had AT Pros. And they said, well, there ain't no sense in even going out there today. He says, we done found it all. You know, you're just wasting your time. We said,
Yeah.
okay, you know, you really don't mind if we go head out, do you? And they said, oh, no, but you ain't going to find nothing. Well, I think between the Mumbles man and myself that day, I think we got 6 gold rings and 3 silver rings, and I got a big old wrapper chain, gold chain and pendant. So, yeah, it was
Yeah.
just hunted completely out. You know, what are you going to
Yeah.
do?
I try to keep in mind that when you're out there in a field that you've been to a dozen times, and someone says, "Well, it's been hunted out. There's nothing left." You got either 11 or maybe a 15-inch coil, and you're swinging it, and you're trying to go in a straight line, but you're straying left or right. Sometimes you go up another line and you miss this much space in between. So there's some targets you missed.
Yes.
It's just very hard to cover every inch of ground
Yes.
with that coil. And we've proven time after time that places don't really get hunted out. The rain can make a difference. If we get a good heavy rain for a couple of days and then go out there, all of a sudden more targets show up because of the soil conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, different and you may hit it, you know, you may hit it just from a slightly different direction, and the
Yeah.
object or find maybe sitting at a certain angle that you didn't pick it up going the other way. So, you know, that's why it's, you know, it's always funny when everybody gets a new detector. They always go back to the places that they've been pounding and not, you know, not finding much.
Right.
Then they go back with a new detector and they start finding all this
Yeah.
stuff. And they, oh, this detector is so much better when it's really not. I think what they're doing is they're going slower, they're swinging slower, and they're paying more attention to any of the signals.
Yes.
You know, which
I have to agree with that.
is great. You know, it's, you know, it's great. So, what's next for you guys?
Next, we're still in the middle of. We've got a lot of adventures. A lot of it doesn't make it on his videos.
Yeah, we don't. I don't show the days we go out and we find nothing.
Or little.
We have those days, or little.
Everybody does, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've got. If I showed everything, I'd probably have 300 videos on my channel instead of 118. Right now, we're looking at places. One of our specialties is construction sites where they're doing new construction, especially where they go into a wooded area and they tear out the trees. When they tear out the trees and start getting everything out of our way for construction, of course, we go in there and try to get permission, and then we go and hunt it as many days as we can and cover as much of that ground. We actually had a place in Suffolk. We call it the Button Factory, and I think a total of about probably over 100 buttons were pulled out of there.
I pulled 46 out of there myself.
You pulled 46. I got at least 30. We call it the Button Factory, and that place, what best we can figure is it was a crossroads in colonial times. That one corner was very busy because we pulled Spanish silver out of there, Civil War bullets. I've got a spectacle buckle. No, I didn't get the spectacle buckle. His brother did. So many relics out of this one spot. You know, we like to find these hot spots. And one of our recent spots was a place we named the Big Apple. In this place, we like to go around waterways, like the creeks and stuff. We can get in some land around the waterways. In the colonial times, people traveled the waterways, and they were all through the woods. And we started out finding, at the Big Apple, we started finding Indian head pennies. We found 5 or 6 just in one 40-foot area. Then we went on, and I found a large cent, and I didn't know what it was until I got it home and cleaned it up, and it turned out to be a 1773 Virginia halfpenny.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice.
Dime Detective here, he pulled 2 pieces of silver about a foot apart right by a tree.
Barber dime.
A barber dime and a
mercury.
seated
No, it was
dime.
seated. It was
Seated dime.
Yes.
We hunted
Wow.
that, and made a few videos there. It was pretty good hunting area.
Mhm.
Now, Daniel, is your brother was hunting with you? Was he the detector thrower?
No. Who was a detective thrower?
Well, you should have told him.
This
You
would be
know, you
me.
got to save that stuff for the golf course. Yeah.
That's probably my youngest son. But I got a little bit of, well, I've got a lot of stories, but back to the button factory.
Yes.
So here's a little bit of dirt therapy for you. Um, I work a lot of hours, sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. So if I get 15 minutes of daylight and I can go metal detecting, I go.
Mhm.
And I had one of those days where there's a lot of stress, whatever, and I get home and it's like 7 o'clock and it's going to get dark about 7:30. And I said, well, I'm just going. And I went to go to one of my usual spots and there was something going on there and I had permission for it, but couldn't get in there because of what was going on. And I said, well, I'll just take a drive and see if there's someplace else I can find. And I happened to drive by this one section of woods, and I said, I don't know how many times I've passed this. Why haven't I paid attention to it before? And I scoped it out, and I knew who owned it. And I knew some people that hunted on there. And I left there, and I talked to my brother and made a few phone calls and got permission. And this was probably, I would say, about 75, 80 acres of land, wooded area. And I knew that there had been at least one rundown shack on there that had been bulldozed years before. And the next night I went in there and I just poking around and I had my brother with me. And I knew that there was an old road bed that went across a creek in two places across a bridge. But my brother wanted to stay out front, and I'm like, no, there's a lot of trash. I want to get back where the older stuff is at, where I knew these old buildings were, so on and so forth. And get back there where one of the bridges used to be, but wasn't there anymore. And I hadn't had the Equinox long, and I had the discrimination turned down to like 4 or 5. And I get a solid 7 on the Equinox, about 6 or 7 inches down, and I'm like, I wonder what that is. I'm still trying to figure this out. This is a 22 shell? Is this a piece of iron? I probably hadn't had the machine a month. Dug down, and it was a little bitty Tomback button with a shank on it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I get up, and like a minute later, another one, and I'm pulling out 4 of those. And I started sweeping along, and I get a higher signal. Wasn't sure what that was. And it was a brass square nail. And I had just done some research on brass square nails. And basically, the 2 things that I found for brass square nails were either a boat or a coffin. And I knew this in my mind. So when I'm looking at this brass square nail, I'm thinking there's a cemetery around here somewhere. Gave me a little bit of chills. And I'm looking around. I'm telling my brother, I said, I think there's a cemetery around here. And he said, why? I said, I have this overwhelming feeling. And we went back over the course probably of a year, and then it ended up getting developed. I found 46 buttons myself. I don't know exactly how many he found or my brother found.
Around 30 for me.
Around 30. I found a 1723 Spanish half real, my first half real. Came up as a solid 20 on the Equinox, about 8 inches down. We found large sets out there. My brother found a class ring from 1950s, and he found 2 pieces of Spanish silver. I think you got a seated Liberty down?
I did get a seated out there. My first seated Liberty dime ever. The area where they had torn out the trees and graded it. And these guys were going off to the left and to the right, and I went in this little cove where they were going to make a cul-de-sac. And I swung around, and I got an 81 signal. And I said, oh, okay, it might be a dime. It was a dime. It was a seated dime. I was pleasantly surprised with that.
You know what, Jeff? I think we need to have these 2 back another time.
I think so too.
Because it sounds to me like we've only scraped
the surface.
Yes.
So you guys up for a return trip sometime in the fall?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're looking probably October.
Let me
So
give you little bit more peace about this place before we leave. The oldest buckle that I found is a spectacle buckle that dates from about 1550, and it was found at the same place. And there's a lot of Civil War buttons, a lot of Civil War activity. I did some research on the property. I found out that it was land granted to a guy in the late 1600s, one of the first land grants. He ended up dividing it, giving it to the church, so on and so forth. But it's got a weird name to it, which I don't want to say for obvious reasons.
Mhm.
But when I did some research on the name, there is a headstone in a neighboring county. And when I did some research on that, it's the same guy that owned the property at the time. And people say that that name was a pseudonym for somebody, and nobody knows who. And people have gone as far as wanting to dig up the grave. And because of modern technology, when they scanned below the headstone, there's nothing under there, which just further leads to the mystery of this property that we call the Button Factory.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, guys, we thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I will get up with you very quickly to get you scheduled for the fall for a return trip. So,
Yes, I think
All
so.
right.
everybody will be enthralled again with your
Yeah.
stories because y'all got a bunch of them. So, we thank you so
stories. That's
much for joining us tonight. It's been our pleasure. I hope you all had a good time.
Yes.
I know everybody watching around the world has enjoyed this. So, we'll be looking for you to go and subscribe to your channels.
All right.
And everybody will get over there and subscribe to this channel now.
I appreciate it, everybody who comes to my channels and
Right
watches the videos.
Good stuff. Good
All
stuff.
right, guys. Thanks a bunch.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Y'all have a
See you
good one.
guys. All right.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Them guys got it going on, don't they? They got a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
interesting stories.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. I think we definitely need to have them back.
Yeah. We only scrape the
Yeah.
top.
I mean, there's so many of the guests that we have that, we're going to get them back on.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
they've got so much going
Mhm.
on,
Yes. Yes.
and like this next guy. This guy is, he's got more stories probably than these guys do.
He does it all.
Yes, he does. I've seen him almost fall out of a boat magnet fishing, and
Yeah.
almost stepping in a hole in a field in the woods. So I think we need to bring him on right away. This is Matt Howell from Gone Diggin.
Hi, friends.
Hey, Adeline. Hello.
Hi,
How are you? How are you,
Hi,
Adeline?
Hi, Miss Liz.
Hi, Jeff.
Aw,
Hi,
hello. Aw. Oh my
Hi.
gosh. Oh my goodness. My heart.
Yeah, mine too.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, you know what, Matt? How about you tell us a little about yourself and perhaps a little about Adeline as well?
Hello, friends. First of all, Jeff, thanks for having me on. I apologize for my tardiness this evening.
It was good.
Bath times and other things of life. The important things are where we were this morning. Not saying you guys aren't important. I don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I'm Matt, and what's your name?
Adeline.
This is Adeline.
Sweet
And
Adeline.
Yeah.
You know,
How old are
Adeline,
you,
they
Adeline?
made singing groups after you.
Oh yeah. And Adeline's 3.5, and she's quickly becoming the best treasure hunter I know.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
You like digging
Fine.
holes, Adeline?
Tell her how old you are.
3.
3?
Yeah.
You like digging holes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She's
fun, isn't it?
She's the perfect
my daddy
size.
got me my own metal detector.
Ooh,
It's
very nice.
downstairs in the
Wow.
living room.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I think she could do her own interview, Matt. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, she probably could do that. Probably. Are you learning how to drive a car?
Yep, I drove the car.
Oh my God. Does she drive the boat?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to drive everything.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so my channel's gone digging for the folks who don't know. And
What's this, Miss Liz?
she Adeline here loves Miss Liz and saying hi to
Aw.
Diggin Canuck
Oh
in
my
on
God.
Sunday mornings.
Oh my
it's-
God.
It's one of their favorite things in the world to do.
Well, guess what? This Sunday, I'm back with Coffee with Liz, so I hope to see Adeline there.
Yeah. What do you think? We'll say hi to Miss Liz on Sunday?
Yeah.
That sounds
Good.
fun.
Good
Where
stuff.
are you, Miss Liz? Where do you live?
Where I live in a very, very cold place called Canada.
Do you want to go there one day?
Yeah.
That would sound fun.
Yeah.
So, well, I think for now it's night times.
Are you gonna go night, Miss Liz?
I'm gonna talk to your daddy for a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna go night. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
What are you gonna do?
Okay.
Are
Okay.
you gonna read some books?
Yeah.
Can you blow kisses and say night night?
Night-night.
Night, Adeline.
Good night, Adeline. Sleep tight.
Oh, there we go.
Oh
Go,
my
Mama.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
She said bye, Miss Liz.
Bye, Adeline. Oh my goodness, I need to meet her one day.
Oh, I can't wait for that to happen. I'm sure it will happen. So that's my heart right there.
Oh, yes.
Treasure hunting is a minor footnote in my life now compared to that small person right there.
Yeah,
Right
they consume your life as they should.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so treasure hunter. I think I started my life as a history lover and someone who enjoyed the metal detecting community. Kisses?
Why are you so talking to Miss Liz?
I am. Here, give me kisses. Night night.
Huh?
Night night. Kisses.
Why are you so?
She's the best. And Mr. Jeff. I love you.
Aw.
So, yeah, I guess I started my life as a metal detecting person who enjoyed just being outdoors and history, and I think I've evolved my the way that I think of history as a mix of what is the cultural resource of where you live to actually being a full-blown treasure hunter after meeting my friend Jim Tippett in Florida and getting to spend some time down there in a place that has real tangible quote-unquote treasure.
Yes, indeed it does. And Mr. Crossbones is a good friend of ours, and he has had a lot of luck on the Treasure Coast. But the Treasure Coast, like anything else, Matt, you've got to be there at the right time. Because unfortunately now they're pounding sand on those beaches.
Yeah,
They're
it's
bringing it from the interior.
yeah, it's a place of opportunity. I think that's what a lot of treasure hunting is. True treasure hunting is the idea of opportunity combined with research. I think that there's a tremendous amount of actual true treasure, and I'm not talking about cultural or historical artifacts. I'm talking about pure bullion of stashed coins or gold lost in the Americas, whether it was from the initial, the initial first settlers to people from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s who didn't believe in banks or depressions, things like that. And the more I get into those things, the more I'm just blown away with how much I've neglected the era of like the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You're exactly right. And even before, everybody's heard the term cracker. But how it really came about was back in the early 1800s and the mid 1800s with coming down, gathering up all the wild cattle. in Florida, and there was a bunch of them. They lived out. Of course, Florida wasn't really settled then. You had pockets that were settled, and taking it down to near Punta Gorda to ship it all to Cuba, and they used to pay them in Spanish gold.
Mm.
And they had trunks of it because they were too far away from a bank. So there's a bunch of it out there in Florida. Unfortunately, I think maybe some of it's under buildings and stuff like that by this point. You know what I mean? But you're exactly right. There's all kinds. You never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you guys saw on the news, the Colombian government released, they found what they believe to be the richest Spanish shipwreck ever lost in a single wreck. Right off the coast of Colombia, in 2,000 feet of water, they had an ROV, and they estimate the value currently at about $17 billion. But if you haven't seen that, Google search that, check that out. It's amazing. The ROV footage comes down and there's pots. And then beside cannons, there's bars of gold stacked with silver. That it's just amazing. And I really think that on a smaller scale, that stuff is available to a lot larger population
Mm-hmm.
if you just do the legwork or you follow the treasure leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, indeed. We got a question for you from the Mumbles man. Wants to know what your most unusual find has been.
Unusual, probably a couple years ago. I was out metal detecting with the Gig Master. A great guy. Steve is fantastic. And we were doing. Yeah. If you can keep up with Steve, either you have some really great illegal or prescription drugs, or you have the gift of youth. I can't keep up with that guy, and he is got a few years on me, but he is a fantastic guy, one of my favorite people. We were testing out his hookah that he has. If you guys see his channel, he runs a supplied air system from the boat. And, me typically being a scuba diver, I was pretty skeptical of the hookah system and if I would enjoy it and things like that. And I was out with him and I found a Civil War pair of dentures or a bridge, front 3 teeth. And they were, it's called German silver. So it's a mix of, was it tin and nickel? And it was set as a bridge. Pretty interesting find. I certainly never found anything like that.
Yeah, he finds of course, he goes in. One thing about the Gig Master is he goes into areas where a lot of people don't go.
Mm-hmm.
And he's constantly out there. And I like it when he says, "Yeah, got to keep on getting up."
Yeah,
and he does. He's going a mile a minute.
Yeah, and the guys earlier, I was able to catch a couple minutes, and they were talking about Digologist John. I've met him a couple times. Great guy. They were talking about how they like to hunt other places, woods, transition zones between fields and woods, and for most people, that's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want to go out and find treasure, or you want to exceed in anything in the world, it's not about being comfortable.
Nope.
So the more you go out and dig in, Liz, I love watching Liz dig. Liz goes on hillsides and cold places, and like some of the best places I've seen are those areas you have a hard time finding footing.
Yeah.
You're hanging onto a tree, sweeping your machine. And you find stuff there. And it's because it's uncomfortable. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, not easy to swing.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So Matt, have you I think that when I think of your name and your channel, you're probably the most all around, I think, treasure hunter out there. Like when I said at the intro that you do it all, you definitely, you bottle dig, you're out on the water, you're Civil War hunting. I don't know what it is that you don't do. Maybe I don't know. You seem to do it all.
I think that I kind of do. I won't say I do it all well, um, but I at least give it my fair shake of things. You know what it is? It's the adventure. It doesn't matter what I'm doing as long as I'm out there doing it.
Mm.
You know, I'm as content in digging a 1920s or 1930s dump that people think, oh, that's junk. That's 100-year-old stuff to me,
Yeah, that's true.
you know? And like, well, maybe a screw top bottle isn't the coolest, but if I don't have one or I find enjoyment in doing it,
Yeah.
that's really all that matters to me.
That's it exactly. That's it
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
You know, it's one's man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
And there's something that you reiterate a lot in your videos. The one I just watched this afternoon, you guys were out under the bridge looking for the tools with the magnet. You know, you weren't having much luck, but you were having a lot of fun. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can never guarantee never guarantee finds, and I think that's the hard part for a lot of people is that we get lost in what we find, and we don't get lost in the story or the experience. And you know, for that video, I'd taken somebody who had said, "Hey, I'd like to go magnet fishing." Well, let's go find and let's go mess around. And you know, I think that's part of the treasure legend or the allure of adventure to me is that
Hmm.
I had a guy tell me, hey, man, I know somebody that wrecked their vehicle off that bridge. And now, did that guy really lose a bunch of tools into that river? Or had he overturned his vehicle and set it in hopes of getting a little extra money on his insurance?
Mm.
You know, I don't know, but like I'm the person that says, let's go find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you never know how true, you know, the story is. There's varying degrees of truth in every story,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you know. But like you said, what have you got to lose? Let's go
Yeah.
check it out. You never know.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
you got out there with your friend and you threw the magnet. So, you know, it was a win-win.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And I think that's what we lose, you know, in folks who do YouTube or social media or whatever it is that if we get back down to the roots of why we do this, you know, there's like the big 3 or 4 YouTube channels that I love because I've met a few of those folks, but what do? They either tell a story or they convey an emotion, and I think that's the fun part about what we do is all of the best videos that we watch as folks, because I consume YouTube content and and I think the best videos that are there really like they hit me, they hang on to me, or I feel invested, or I'm excited for that person, you know.
Mhm.
So it's a weird thing in this, but being a treasure hunter is I guess in this time period is so much different than, you know, say maybe 100 years ago. You
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it's like you said, it's the thrill of the hunt. Case
Mhm.
in point, how long have they been on Oak Island looking for something? They find a lot of wood, you know, but people, they complain about it, but they tune in
Yeah.
every week
Mhm.
during their season to watch Oak Island, you
Mhm.
know, to see if Gary Drayton's going to find a top pocket or, you know, he's just going
Mhm.
to find some more wood or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
It's the expectation, I think,
Yeah.
you know. So, and it's
Mhm.
like that on a good YouTube video, I think,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know.
Yes. Now, Matt, I'm gonna just like bang, bang, bang. Best Civil War relic.
In 2011, 2012, when I first started metal detecting, oh man, you just hit me with 2. Okay, I'm going to give you 2. I
Okay.
had a permission. I had a lady who told me, hey, this place has been hunted in the 1970s. You're not going to find anything, but have all the fun you want. Knock on my door whenever you want. I don't care. She's a super nice lady. And I ended up finding 5 Civil War belt buckles at her place. one of them being an extremely rare medium-sized South Carolina militia oval plate. And that's number one. That's tied for number one. The other was 2 years ago while diving on the river. I found the ID stencil of a Civil War soldier that I ID'd him. I learned his history. I learned when he lost the item, the battles he fought in, and then not only that, where he is buried. And that is on a very short list of places that I'm going to go to visit his gravesite.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, his name, James Wolfe Bradley. He was from the Company D Harris Light Cavalry. Harris Light Cavalry was actually was absolved by the Second New York, and that individual ID stencil was probably used for him to write letters home, where he would have used a little bit of ink, laid it over top of it, and he would have been able to send a letter home. And I don't think there's much more relatable. I've never been a soldier, and I've never been in the military service. But man, to think of my grandfathers who wrote every letter from home and how relatable to history that is,
Yeah.
from current soldiers all the way back through the American Revolution. Any branch or any nationality, how they would have written letters home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a heck of a memory.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a memory. I mean, it's beyond, crazy history, but I mean, as far as a memory, like you actually touching that and just incredible. So, did you have conversation at all with the soldier's family or?
So it's he has a very very difficult to unravel past. He files for a pension, and based off of the writings of the time, the pension is either that he's an invalid or the pension is invalid. There's very hard distinction between the two. His daughters at the time, when I find his daughters in about the 1870s, his daughters are both in orphanages, and there's no trace of his wife. So it's very difficult to discern where the history and the path to current, if there are current relatives for him. It is it's unfathomable to me to hold something that's individually ideable
Yes.
to a single individual soldier of that period of time.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of real good records kept back then, I don't think, were there?
So the Second New York was a very large regiment, but not only were they a large regiment, they were divided and they fought everywhere. The battle rolls and the musters don't match the battle rolls, because I mean, they fought in Chancellorsville, they fought at Gettysburg, they fought Antietam, Fredericksburg, they fought all the way as south as Chattanooga, Shiloh. They fought everywhere because they were divided up. I do know that he was in Virginia, and I know a very small period of time that he would have been in Virginia. So that helps me, but that's all I have, is because I know when the place I found it was in use. So, that's part of the nature of items, historical items. We just, at some point in time, we just don't know.
Wonderful.
So, what detectors are you using now, Matt?
Oh, one of everything. So I've been dabbling in the XP Deus 2. It's a phenomenal machine from the XP Deus 1. I still have an original Deus. Currently, I have, for most people who watch my channel, know that I'm a big pulse induction machine guy. I really love the MindLab GPX series, but specifically the 4500 to 5000. I hunt a lot of places in American Civil War camps, battlefields with the GPX. Completely not the machine that was designed to do what I do with it, but I'm pretty successful with it. The we've been hunting with the Equinox 800. I've hunted with the MindLab CTX for I would say about 8 years now. Probably my favorite go-to water machine in any sort of brackish water. And also now hunting with the MindLab Excalibur 2. Pinpointers, still using the Garrett Carrot. I still believe that is the top-notch pinpointer in the world. Garrett will tell you it's waterproof to 20 feet. Matt will tell you it's waterproof to 60 feet. So it's a phenomenal piece of kit and really good for everything. We use also use the Nocta Macro Pulse Dive. Great piece of equipment as well.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So what's next for Matt?
Oh, what's next for Matt? Man. So I have a grocery list about 6 miles long of things that I am currently working on. I am currently building a retail website. I am a dealer now, or just became a dealer for Garrett, Nocta Macro, and XP Deus. And that's not because there's not other great dealers out there. Andy O'Neill's one of my friends, and I really like what he's doing. Heath Jones, Jerry over at Cold Harbor Metal Detectors. There's a ton of great places out there to purchase machines from. I just figured I'd throw my name in the hat, and then it would help me also as well provide a little customer service for folks. Currently, I am working on a series of metal detecting events. Had my first one this spring. We didn't have any crazy name for it. It was we had about 30 folks, and wasn't really advertised. I just kind of pushed it out to to my group, and we had a good time. Pete Sorrell from Digstock came down. We had Mark Hoover. We had Jimmy Crossbones came and dug with us, and we had about 100 acres or so, 150 acres of colonial period house sites, 2 house sites specifically. But we're working on improving that, really working hard to improving that and bringing a small group dig to 30 to 50 people 3 to 4 times a year, and maybe an occasional large group. And by a large group, I mean 100 folks.
Mm-hmm.
That I like the organized metal detecting hunts. I got to meet Liz at whatever that name was, that place.
In Chazy.
Yeah, Chasey. Yep.
Digstock. Was it Digstock? Yeah, it was.
Digstock was in Chazy, yeah.
Yeah, it was Digstock.
Yeah, so
And I gotta say, Matt, you were a lot taller than I pictured you.
the internet and TV's deceiving place, right? And which we didn't get to hang out with. And
I know it was crazy. It's maybe next time. Next time.
Well, maybe you can come down to Virginia and come hunt with
That's
me.
possible. That is entirely possible.
So we're working on that. I've got a property that I've been in negotiation with, but it's 2,000 acres. It's Digstock size, but it's only going to be 100 people. So we're working on a lot of different things like that, because I really like the organized thing. But you know what I enjoy more than the organized part of it is that I got to hang out with Jimmy Crossbones and Mark Hoover and Frankie and Ross and all the guys that come and dig with us. We got to go do the things that we love and hang out and just have a good time. Pete and there's a ton of other folks who aren't like internet folks that I just had an absolute blast with. That's kind of the goal in the next year, and then maybe expanding into an adventure company and doing some trips. I have a goal to do the AKAU Alaska Gold. up in Nome. I'd like to do that next year. And I'd like to just rent the whole place out and invite 20 folks who want to go and look for gold for a week,
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So,
No kidding.
It'd be a lot of fun.
yeah.
That sounds really good, man.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got those balls juggling,
Ooh, man.
That's with with Sweet Adeline,
Yeah. So I have a
Wonderful.
monsters project that hopefully will wrap up and that everybody will see in November, October, November of next year, maybe in the early spring. So I'm really excited about that. Unfortunately, I can't share that one.
Okay,
Well,
whenever you get
we'll have
ready
to have you
share
back
it,
on the show, right?
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I'd
And
love
just
to.
fixing to say, whenever you got something to share, you let me know, and we'll have you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. Good stuff.
Get that thing, let everybody know. So, Matt, it was a great time tonight. And meeting Sweet Adeline was the epitome of coolness.
Yeah.
I know for Liz and myself and everybody out there.
Yeah.
She is a sweetheart of the nth degree.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be playing second fiddle to her for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. That's okay. Trust me. I did it for a number of years. So that's what it's all about.
Yes.
And the things that you do with her now are imprinting for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And
Fortunately or unfortunately for her.
well, that's the thing. People say unfortunately, but it's really not because, your good traits are being imprinted into
Yeah.
her for the rest of her life.
Mhm.
So, that's what it's all about. So,
Yes.
teaching her the right and wrong as you know it. That's where the families come in. It's not because somebody over here says that's right or wrong. That may not be the case. It's what you believe in your heart and what you're going to pass on to her. It's going to make her a good person like you're a good person. So,
Yes.
that's what it's all about. Being a dad is a huge, huge load to bear, but I think you're going to do it very well.
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for being with us tonight, Matt. Give that baby a hug for us, and we'll get you back real soon so you can tell us more of what's going on.
Sounds great, guys.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Isn't that Adeline just about the cutest thing?
Oh my
you've ever
goodness.
seen in
I
your
love
life?
her to bits. I'm going to meet her one day. I am going to meet her one day.
Well, one day, yes.
Yes.
One day we'll maybe all of us will get to meet each other. That would be nice. That would be nice. So,
Yes.
as
Yes.
you said, now you've got Coffee with Liz starting it. From now on, Coffee with Liz is going to be the first Sunday of every month, correct?
Yeah, for the summer months, and then it will resume in September. So this Sunday will be July 1st, and then there will be August 1st, and then we'll resume again in September.
Doing what, every Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't hold me to it, but yes.
Okay. Well, it's a lot of work. People don't think it's, they think you just turn the computer on and there you are. And if it was only that easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, as everybody knows, we're going to be on hiatus at Treasure Tales for the month of July. We'll be back August 1st, where we will have Gene P. Will be with us, as will John Waldrop from the Red Dirt Shootout, because that's coming up in the fall in September. We'll be talking about that. Now, on the other side of the coin, at Treasure Talk, Monday night, July 4th, we will not have a show because of the holiday. But then the following 3 weeks, Phil will be doing the show, and he's going to have a real exciting guy from Tampa about coins, which you'll all definitely want to tune in and see. And then we'll have the week after that, it'll be American Digger Magazine. Butch Cokum will be back in the house. And in the last week of July, he will have Tosha Treasure Adventures. Captain Sid and Captain KT will be in the house to talk about the Atosha treasures and whatever else they do. And they do a lot. I will be in Canada, and Liz will be in the pool. So, like we always say, treasure stories, there's a million of them out there. All of them are valid, all of them are unique, and all of them have meaning. And we want to hear your treasure stories on Treasure Tales. So, if you have an interest in coming on the show and you see how we do this, and we're just chatting with our friends, get up with me or get up with Liz. You can get up at treasuretalkshow@gmail.com or diggingcanuck@gmail.com. Let us know you want to come on, and we'll get you scheduled so you can come on and tell the world your story. So, Liz, have a good month of July. We'll see you in August.
You as well. Have a fantastic trip to the Canadian West. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it.
I am going to have as good a time as I possibly can.
Right on. Good stuff. Good
So,
stuff.
I'll be tuned in Sunday morning.
All right.
So everybody else, you need to tune in and subscribe. So with that being said, it's time for us to go.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, and happy hunting and dig deeper.